What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another one. We are in the garage today. Show you what we got in here. Oh man, look at this shiny, like new YFZ450r. This thing is so sweet. 2022, I believe. Look at how clean this thing is. Unbelievably clean. Never seen dirt, guys. Never seen dirt, okay? Now, before you freak out, it's not mine. I wish it was. This thing is a cream puff of a quad. You guys know that I do engine builds and repairs and maintenance things, and pretty much anything quad related. People will ask me if I can work on that quad, build them an engine, things like that. So this is another one of those situations that I had a friend reach out on YouTube, and he kind of started this project. He got in a little over his head, and then he kind of stopped, and he asked me if I would finish it for him, which I agree to. So the big thing was he went to swap out the clutch basket. You guys have seen, I've done videos on this before. When you're putting in the new clutch basket, you need to kind of push it in and rotate it, and it will mesh in with the gears inside the engine. So when he did it, it did not go in all the way. He went to tighten it up, and he kind of heard a pop. He did not look at it. He kind of stopped right there, and that's where I'm taking over. So we're going to just check that out to see if there's any damage or if it's okay. I'm not really sure, but he did get me all the parts if he did damage the oil pump idler gear. Like anything like that, we got the parts for it. We also have some brand new clutch plates. We're going to do some aftermarket brake lines. We got some Nerf bars to put on right there. We got a nice precision stabilizer to put on. We got some Raccoon Racing Products radiator hoses to put on. New chain and sprockets, this little mud guard for the front, and I think that is about, oh, and the we're going to upgrade the stator bolts, and then also put in the valve cover vent with the threaded one from B&R Motorsports as well. So we'll probably do the engine stuff in real time, or I might speed it up in time lapse, I'm not sure, but I want to show you, like I want to look at the clutch first, show you guys what I find, and then maybe after that we'll just do everything in time lapse to keep it moving along nice and quick. And I'm not sure if this will be one video or two, but we're going to start with the clutch, get that straightened out, and then we'll move on to the flywheel bolts, and then we can work on the cosmetic stuff. So let's get to work, guys. All right, guys, so to get the clutch cover off, we will need to just remove the rear brake pedal, rear brake light mechanism, and we can kind of just lay that right down out of the way. Take off our cover. He said everything was pretty much loose. Definitely nice when you can work on a nice clean quad. We got the frictions in here. Oh, we are going to take that nut right off, pull the hub out, and then we can inspect inside there. Alright, so this should come out. Get our washer out of the way. And then we can pull out the basket. Everything looks okay, which is good. I don't see anything out of there. I don't see anything damaged. Idler gear looks fine. I don't even see any kind of like scratches or anything on the gear. I don't see anything. So it could have just been like a little bit of a pop going in. I do see, actually I see it right here. All right, so we're gonna definitely change the idler gear. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this, but this is where he must have tightened it down and it wasn't locked in. You can see there's like a bit of a groove on that tooth, a tiny one on that tooth, and just the edge of that tooth you can see where the gears weren't meshed together correctly. He tightened it down and it probably was pushing down on that, and then it slipped in, and that was probably the pop that he heard. So we will change that just for good measure. I will see if he's got a circlip, because we're going to need a new circlip, and then we'll just change that out, and we should be good to go. Alright guys, so we just need to move the old circlip. There's a little washer on here, so don't lose that. We can reuse that, that looks fine. New gear can go in there. Make sure it's locked in with the oil pump and the washer. And then our new circle. Alright, that looks good. Now we can reassemble our clutch. Basket's gonna go in first. I'm gonna push it in and we're gonna rotate. So see how it just slid in the first set of gears? Rotate. Right there, just locked in. See that, guys? I'm gonna do it again. Alright, so that's one. Right there's two. And make sure you double check, go back and forth. A good way to tell it's not in is if this washer does not spin freely, then the basket is not in all the way. So just pay attention to that. We got our inner hub, locking tab, and then our nut. This nut will be 54 foot-pounds, 30 millimeter. We're gonna break out our handy dandy Motion Pro universal clutch tool. It fits perfectly on a Hinson basket. This thing is so sweet. All right, we got that. I just use a set of channel locks. Make sure it's down nice and even. That looks pretty good. Get a little bearing in here and throw out. All right guys, so one thing to keep in mind with the Hinson setup, you will not be using these three plates that come with the slipper clutch along with the thinner steel. You need to use all the thicker steels, or like the wider steels and the wider frictions. So keep that in mind. You will need 3 more of those, and this is the part number for the frictions if you got to get a couple more, unless you're buying a whole new kit. And I'll show you the steels. That's the number for the thicker steels. So just keep that in mind. You cannot reuse those thinner friction plates. So you can go ahead and reinstall our clutch pack. Alright guys, so we got the hardest part of the job done, at least in my opinion, that's what I think. So the clutch is good to go, all that's installed. We replaced the idler gear, and then we just did the flywheel bolts, and then we did the rocket cover, which looks sweet. Show you the old gear right here, and then right there is the mark. Now I'm sure this wouldn't have caused any damage, but the owner of this machine wanted me to check it out and replace anything in question, so we just changed it out. You never know, that could in time break off, who knows. Here's the old flywheel bolts, and that's the gear with the stir clip now. And then, you know, we have the old oil cover, and then what we're going to do now is drain the coolant. We're going to pull the radiator just to give us easier access for the stabilizer, and then we'll put it all back together, put the hoses on, fill it up with coolant, fill it up with oil, and then we'll do a little startup for you guys. Guys, so we got her running. As you could see in the video, we did the coolant hoses, got the coolant topped off and burped, oil in the machine, clutch is all set, flywheel bolts are all set, the little oil cover's all set. Since we had the radiator empty, we just pulled it out to make the installation of our stabilizer super easy. Put that in super quick. It's got the B&R adapter plate, so when he does change the A-arms, he won't have to mess with that at all. He does have a belly skid coming, but we don't have that yet, so I probably won't show you guys that. But we do need to bulletproof the fuel pump. You guys know how we do that. We're gonna have to drain this tank and probably let it sit for overnight until we solder those We're going to do the brake lines. Probably not going to film that because that's kind of boring. And chain and sprockets I've done a million times, so we won't film that. We can pop this guy on. This guy just gets zip tied on the front like so. So that's that. We can zip tie that on. That's not too bad. But then we just need to do the Nerf bars. So Nerf bars I'll probably just do in time lapse, just to keep it quick. Alright guys, that is a wrap for this one. We finished this quad up for my friend Dave. Now he is ready to rip. Quick rundown of what we did. We did the Nerf bars, we did the flywheel bolts, we did that rocket oil cover, we did a chain of sprockets, we did the Precision Elite stabilizer, we did braided brake lines front and rear with these brake line clamps. We did the Raccoon Racing Products radiator hoses, which look sweet. We were able to tie in his Resto quad headlights. The running light is just on the key, so I thought that was, you know, we didn't have another switch, so we just put that on the key, and then the lights work on the factory switch. You got low beam, then you get your high beam. These things look really good at night. I just took this thing for a rip, and no problems with seeing everywhere. This side we just straightened out his clutch. We had to replace the oil pump idler gear and the circlip, and then we finished the clutch installation. You can see the rear braided brake line clamp, and we grabbed these little holders at Harbor Freight. These things are sweet. We got like a big pack of them, and they're like perfect. They hold it nice and tight, and it looks really clean. Besides that, I think that's it. We're letting her charge up because the battery's kind of weak from sitting, and I had to jump it a couple times just from sitting. He hasn't rode this thing in like 2 years, and it's been sitting here, so we got it on the trickle charger just to keep that battery fresh, and that's a wrap, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. We did take a rip on this thing up and down the road. The neighbors are probably not too happy. I'm not gonna lie, I got on this thing. It is super loud with that Rossier exhaust, like so much louder versus like the HMF. It's got a really good sound, but unfortunately, like for me, it's way too loud for me. But good sound. The quad feels awesome, especially with that stabilizer, and everything felt good. Everything's tight. The brakes worked. I checked those, make sure they're grabbing and stuff like that, and everything's good to go. So my buddy Dave's going to be ready to rip this thing. Hopefully he can get on it soon and have some fun. I guess he bought this 3 years ago and only rode it, I guess, up and down the driveway once. So it's good to go. He is getting a skid plate. He's probably going to just put that on because I don't have that yet. Once he gets that on, then he'll be good to go. So that's a wrap, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up. That helps a ton. Drop some comments. Let me know what you think. And if you're not yet, please subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.